You know, I was talking to my neighbor Margaret the other day. She just turned 94 last month, and I asked her, "What's your secret?" She laughed and said, "Oh, I don't have secrets. I just do the same little things every day." And you know what? The more I thought about it, the more I realized. Margaret's right. The folks who live well into their 90s, they're not sprinting marathons or eating exotic superfoods you've never heard of. They're doing simple, everyday things that any of us can start today. Maybe you felt it too, those days when your energy dips a little sooner than it used to, or when your joints remind you they're there. But here's the good news: living a long, vibrant life isn't about luck or genetics. It's about the small choices we make every single day. So today, let's talk about 4 of those daily habits. And we'll start with the first 2, because even one small change can ripple out into something wonderful. Let's begin with something you've probably heard before, but stick with me. The first thing so many 90-something-olds do every day? They move. Not like they're training for the Olympics, mind you. Margaret? She walks her dog, Charlie, around the block every morning. My friend Harold, who's 91, still tends to his tomato plants. And my Aunt Ruth, bless her, dances in her kitchen while she makes tea. The key here is consistency, not intensity. It's about finding ways to keep your body in motion, even for just 10 or 15 minutes at a time. Maybe that's a short walk after breakfast, stretching while you watch the news, or even just standing up and sitting down a few times while you're on the phone. The goal? To keep those muscles engaged, your circulation flowing, and your joints from stiffening up. And here's the beautiful part: moving your body does more than just strengthen your legs or your heart. It lifts your mood, sharpens your mind, and, if you do it outside, gives you a dose of that sunshine vitamin we all need. Now, let's talk about the second habit, and this one might surprise you. It's not about cutting out your favorite foods or counting calories. The folks who live into their 90s, they eat colorfully. I don't mean rainbow cupcakes, of course. I'm talking about plates full of deep greens, bright oranges, rich blues, foods that come straight from the earth. Take my friend Sam, who's 92. Every lunch, he has what he calls a grandkid plate, a little bit of everything colorful. Some cherry tomatoes, a handful of spinach, a few slices of roasted sweet potato, maybe a piece of grilled chicken or fish. It's not complicated. It's not expensive. But those foods? They're packed with the nutrients our bodies crave as we age: fiber for digestion, antioxidants for our cells, and natural energy to keep us going. And here's the thing: you don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Start with one meal. Add an extra vegetable to your sandwich. Swap that afternoon cookie for a handful of almonds and a few grapes. Small steps add up, and your body will thank you for them. You see, living a long life isn't about perfection. It's about showing up for yourself, day after day, in these simple, loving ways. And the best part? You don't have to wait. You can start today, right now, even. Now, I'd love to keep going, because we've still got 2 more habits to explore. But for now, why not take one tiny step? Maybe stand up and stretch your arms toward the ceiling while we say goodbye for today. Go on, I'll do it with you. There we go. Did you stretch with me? Feels good, doesn't it? Just that little moment of movement, that little pause in the day to care for yourself. Now, let's dive into the next 2 habits. And I'll warn you, this third one might just be my favorite. You see, the people who live well into their 90s? They don't just take care of their bodies. They take care of their connections. That's right, the third habit is all about staying plugged into the world around you. And no, I'm not talking about social media or the evening news. I'm talking about real, face-to-face moments that make your heart feel full. Take my friend Irene, who's 97. Every Tuesday, she meets her daughter for coffee. Every Thursday, she calls her grandson in college just to hear about his classes and remind him to eat something green. And every Sunday, she hosts a Soup and Stories lunch for her neighbors. She says it's her vitamin for the soul. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, But what if I live alone? Or what if my family's far away? Here's the thing, connection doesn't have to be big or complicated. It could be waving to the mail carrier, chatting with the cashier at the grocery store, or even sitting on a park bench and smiling at someone walking their dog. Science tells us that loneliness can be as harmful as smoking, really. But the flip side? A 5-minute conversation, a shared laugh, or even a heartfelt letter can boost your mood, sharpen your mind, and add years to your life. So today, why not reach out? Call that old friend you've been meaning to catch up with. Join a community gardening group. Or simply sit outside for a while and let the world come to you. You'd be amazed how those small moments of connection can light up your days and your years. Now, let's talk about the fourth habit, and this one's a bit quieter, but just as powerful. The folks who thrive into their 90s? They make time for stillness. Not just resting, mind you, though that's important too. I'm talking about moments of peace where you let your mind settle, like sediment in a glass of water. Think of it as a daily reset button for your spirit. For some, that's prayer or meditation. For others, it's sitting quietly with a cup of tea, listening to the birds, or even losing themselves in a good book. My Uncle Joe, who lived to 96, used to sit on his porch every evening and watch the sunset. He'd say, "That's my time to let go of the day and just be." You don't need a fancy app or a yoga mat. Start with 5 minutes. Close your eyes and breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Let your thoughts float by like clouds, don't chase them. Or, if you'd rather keep your eyes open, try writing down one thing you're grateful for each morning. This habit isn't about emptying your mind, it's about giving yourself permission to pause. To let go of the shoulds and what-ifs that clutter our thoughts. And here's the magic, that stillness? It doesn't just calm your nerves. Studies show it can lower blood pressure, improve sleep, and even strengthen your immune system. So whether it's through meditation, prayer, or simply sitting with your own thoughts, give yourself that gift. The world will still be there when you open your eyes, and you'll be better equipped to face it. Now, I know we've covered a lot today: connection, stillness, and the 2 habits we talked about last time. But here's what I want you to remember: none of this is about adding more to your to-do list. It's about weaving these habits into the life you're already living. Margaret, my 94-year-old neighbor? She doesn't have a strict routine. She just moves when she can, eats what nourishes her, calls her sister every Friday, and spends quiet evenings with her cat. That's it. Simple. Doable. Human. So what's one tiny step you could take today? Maybe invite a neighbor over for coffee. Or sit by the window for 5 minutes and just breathe. Whatever you choose, know this: every day is a new chance to nurture the life you deserve. You know, when I first started learning about these habits from folks like Margaret and Harold, I'll admit, I felt a little overwhelmed. 4 things? Every day? But then I realized, it's not about checking boxes. It's about weaving these tiny threads into the fabric of your life, one day at a time. And that's what I want to share with you today. Think of Margaret. Her morning walk with Charlie isn't just exercise, it's her time to breathe in the day. Her grandkid plate lunches? They're a celebration of color and flavor. And those phone calls with her sister? They're her reminder that she's never truly alone. The beauty of these habits is that they don't ask much of us. They simply ask us to show up. To move a little, nourish ourselves well, reach out to someone dear, and find a moment of quiet. That's it. No strict rules, no guilt, just small, loving choices. And here's the secret no one tells you: these habits build on each other. When you move your body, you have more energy to connect with others. When you eat well, your mind feels clearer for those quiet moments. It's like planting seeds in a garden. You might not see the blooms right away, but trust me, they're coming. Now, I'm not saying every day will be perfect. Some mornings, your joints might ache, or you'll forget to call a friend. But that's okay. Harold once told me, it's not about what you do once in a while, it's what you do most of the time. So if you miss a day, just begin again. That's the gift of getting older, isn't it? We've earned the wisdom to know that life isn't a race. It's a slow, steady walk, and every step matters. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these habits, just one, and try it this week. Maybe it's adding a handful of berries to your breakfast. Or calling the cousin you've been meaning to reconnect with. Or sitting quietly for 5 minutes with your morning coffee. And when you do, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below and tell me how it felt. Did that walk lift your mood? Did that conversation make your heart lighter? We're all in this together, learning as we go. Before we say goodbye, I want to leave you with this. Growing older isn't about slowing down, it's about savoring up. Savoring the sun on your face, the taste of a homegrown tomato, the sound of a loved one's voice. These habits? They're not just about adding years to your life, they're about adding life to your years. So here's to you, to your strength, your resilience, and the incredible journey ahead. Thank you for letting me share these stories with you. If this resonated with you, do me a favor, hit that like button so others can find this video too. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. We've got plenty more conversations like this to share.